Okay, good afternoon. I'll call the meeting to order. I'm Dee. Our chair, Select Board Member Maureen, is on her way, so she's running a little behind. I'll get the meeting started and until she gets here. So, Select Board Member Trask, can you guide us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I also mentioned that Select Board Member Bean is not going to be able to join us today. So it's just us.
Just us, okay.
Madam Clerk, could you please read the agenda items for me?
Sure. Approval of the minutes of April 21st, 2026.
So moved.
Seconded?
Any discussions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Carries. 3-0.
New public business. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or fewer.
So this is the time if there's anyone who has a comment, questions, you just want to raise your hand and anyone? Here
I'm
and now.
afraid of you,
Okay, perfect.
Okay. The board will consider endorsement of town manager appointments to the Conservation Commission in accordance with MGL Chapter 40, Section 8C.
Thank you. Town manager?
Sure.
Think about that?
Yes. I shared with you, thank you very much. I shared with you a memo and what we call the talent pool forms for 2 candidates to join the Conservation Commission as alternates. They're both here tonight. Andrew McNulty, who is sitting right here in front of us, and Michael McCarthy, who's sitting in the back, so if you have a few questions. This is a town manager appointment with a select board approval.
Okay. Board member, any questions? Select Board Member Bennett?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate both of you gentlemen being here. It's very important that we get to see the face with the name, especially if we're going to approve you to be appointed to an important position in town. All the positions that are appointed are important, by the way. On the 2 different applications, one of them, a lot of training, a lot of experience, prior community involvement. Very nice to see. Frankly, the other resume is rather thin, in my opinion. I'm glad that they've been serving on the River Committee, but I don't see anything else in the way of background, so I'll like to hear what my other fellow board members say.
And he's here if you'd like to hear from him.
Well, I know they're here.
Okay.
I mean, perhaps if Mr. McCarthy has something more to add to his resume, I would hear it.
So I'll have Mr. McCarthy. And I know him from the River Committee, very active member there.
Yes, thank you. Happy to answer any questions, tell you a little bit about myself, which might help fill in some of the gaps. So I have been a longtime Danvers, grew up in Danvers as a kid. Actually rode the river when parents would let you do this at age 8 in a raft to my father's marina. He actually bought Bray Woodworking, which was a building, lumberyard, and he created a marina which resides still beside Pope's Landing. So my father was Bernie McCarthy, spent a lot of time on the river, had the opportunity to grow up on the river. And so it's been a part of who I am. I even through high school and into college, I learned how to dive. I would walk down the end of Bradstreet Avenue. I would walk through the mud and would go off and dive and find wrecks. Treasure hunting has been a part of my hobby. So I've spent 700 dives underneath the water, and I'm very familiar with the Danvers rivers as well, because I learned in the Danvers River. I've seen the changes that have occurred in the river, I was there while 5-mile-an-hour marker was far closer in when you could go fast, and we would water ski through what was blue, red, or green foam. Turns out that this was the runoff from Crease and Cook that was in the river that we as kids water skied through. So in one of the meetings I went to, I found out that the off-flow of that Crease and Cook was arsenic, which would sink directly into the mud right there at Crease and Cook. But Crease and Cook, as you know, was a tannery. And that tannery would have been the only tannery that wouldn't have used tetrachloroethylene, TCE. And that binds itself to a polymer which floats. And so it's likely that as a kid, myself and many other Danvers residents were probably impacted by that, as well as our water, our mud, and everything that goes on. I would never want to see something like that again. I have a passion for this river, I think that's extreme. I believe that we have something that is a gem that we should all be extraordinarily proud of, and we should make it something that we can show off to people. We should have it clean, and we should have the constituents of Danvers be able to swim in it and spend the time that I did in that river and learn how to swim, maybe learn how to dive, you know, maybe even fish. And the things that we did in the simpler days when it wasn't as complicated, but you could spend time getting to know other family members. I have a passion for that. While my resume doesn't show these things, I had a 20-year career committed to IBM Corporation, learned how to be a data analyst and an artificial intelligence expert. I can run all kinds of numbers, and I've done an extraordinary amount already with my spare time. Every day is Saturday. I'm retired. I retired in August, and I have to tell you, I'm excited. Thank you. So I'd like to spend my time representing Danvers and our waterfront and its importance to this community.
Thank you, Michael. It's good to hear about your passion. Appreciate it. Maybe Andrew would like to say a few words, just tell us about himself.
Hello, I'm Andrew McNulty. I also grew up here in Danvers. I am currently a wetland and soil scientist for Lucas Environmental. They're based in Quincy. My professional background has been as an environmental scientist. I've sat in on many Conservation Commission meetings across the state. I've submitted a number of applications and seen the process go through a number of times. I'm a licensed professional wetland scientist and also a soil scientist. So I think I could bring a very good technical background to the town. And although I am definitely passionate about conservation and nature, I do also understand the importance of just applying the regulations in a way that's fair. And so that's what I've seen in the past, and that's what I hope to help out with on this committee.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so much, Select Board Member Trask.
I just want to say I am very impressed with Mr. McNulty's resume, credentials. I know Michael from being on the, Mr. McCarthy from being on the River Committee so many years. I know he's passionate about protecting the riverfront, the riprap, the dredging spoils, and how those will play in the upcoming years as well. So I'm happy to support both the candidates.
Thank you, and I do support both the candidates as well. It says right on our talent pool application, volunteering is the ultimate exercise in democracy. You vote in elections once a year, but when you volunteer, you vote every day about the kind of community you want to live in. So thank you for your service. This does not require a vote. Is that correct?
No, you do need to vote.
It says board approval, so.
Yeah, I do need
So I'll need a motion.
I move we accept the recommendation of the town manager and appoint the two commissioners.
No second.
Any discussions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. Perfect.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I just want to update you because Member Bennett, thank you for your feedback. The that we are updating the talent pool form because it does not clearly reflect, obviously, the work of the people who are applying. It's pretty brief, and I don't want to push them to do additional work once we have it, so your packets will be more full in the
Great,
future.
you're good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
Thanks.
The board is in receipt of an application by Christopher P. Chingus for reappointment as a civil constable in the town of Danvers.
Okay,
He's here this evening.
okay, sure. If you want to just, Madam Town Manager, can you speak to this?
I think Madam Clerk can probably speak better to
Sure.
how she uses the constable, how important the constable is to this community.
In your package, you received the letter by Mr. Chingus as well as the requirements for constable, and his application is complete and has provided all the materials.
Okay, perfect. So anything you would like to say for the people watching at home and for us here?
No, I've been a constable in the town since 2008. I know you have a limited list of people or appointment slots, and I would appreciate another 3-year term.
Thank you. Questions from the board. Select Board Member Gardner.
No, the paperwork is quite thorough, and I appreciate the explanation of the constable's roles and responsibilities in town, and happy for the letters of support from the chief and others, so I'm fine. Thank you.
Member Bennett.
No, God just says there's plenty of letters of references endorsing him, and that's fine with me. Thank you.
Perfect. And I'm okay with that as well. I'll need a motion.
I move we reappoint as a civil constable for the town of Danvers, Christopher P. Chingus.
Second?
Any discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
The board will consider the application of Kristen Clark, 25 Berry Street, for a first-time block party on Thursday, May 21st, 2026, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. in front of 26 Berry Street. Is
And
Chris-
who is here
Kristen's
to
here.
speak? Sure. Can you just give us a little information about what this is?
Hi, I'm Kristen Clark. It's actually 25 Berry Street. The address was wrong.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
It
It's a
says
very,
25 Berry Street, yes.
okay, okay. We've spoken to our neighbors. Everybody is in favor of us closing down the small area between Berry Street and Alden Street. In addition to our driveway, there's only 2 other driveways that are impacted in that area. The neighbors are in support of it. My daughter is graduating from college. We have a small piece of property, and we were just hopeful to have a little bit of extra space that evening.
Okay. Madam Clerk, is the paperwork in order?
The paperwork is in order.
Perfect. Select Board Member Bennett, any
Thank you.
questions?
I do. Did you say it's a graduation from college?
It is.
So I'll assume there's no bouncy moon things?
No bouncy houses.
Thank you. Because if you did have them, they could not be on the public way.
For sure, yeah. Those days are past us.
Okay, very good. Thank you. That's it.
Member Trask?
No questions?
Okay. I need a
Motion to approve the first-time block party, Thursday, May 21, 4 to 10, in front of 25 Berry Street.
Second?
Any discussions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to your
Appreciate it.
daughter as well.
Thank you.
Well, we move fast with only 3 members up here.
A public hearing will be held on the application of Amazing Pizza, DBA Fields Kitchen at 12 Cheever Street, inside the Polish Club. Jacqueline Field, owner, for a common victualler license at that location.
Who is here to speak to that?
She's
Perfect.
Before we proceed, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
to the clerk, I'm a member of the Polish Club. I'm not an officer, I'm not a ethnic member, I'm just a social member, just for disclosure purposes.
And
So I
Mr. Chair,
will be purchasing from her.
I too,
Okay.
a member, not an ethnic member, nor an officer, and feel I can vote on this. It doesn't enrich me personally, so.
So you both think you can be impartial?
It depends on the pizza, I don't know how good it is.
Thank you for the disclaimer. So what is happening here? Can you just,
If my name's Jackie Field, I am the chef in this new kitchen at the Polish Club. I've been a chef for over 45 years, and I actually have a sample of my menu if I may approach the board, if you'd like to look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
is this for us to keep?
They're expensive, we give them back.
We'll give them back. My own personal menu for the restaurant.
Okay, Madam Clerk, is the paperwork in order?
The paperwork is in order. Thank you.
We asked for a little background, not only her, but what's going on with the Polish Club that she
Sure, was-
may or may not
I'm
know.
going to call on you for any
Thank you.
questions you have. Member Bennett.
So, the president of the club, Paul Murray, had been a guest of mine for quite some time and approached me to do the kitchen at the Polish Club. I guess the word is out that I'm going in, and everyone seems to be really excited. There's been a need for the kitchen to reopen for quite some time. My background comes from my mom. She taught me how to cook at a young age. We made everything from scratch. We had a huge family. And I became very interested in the culinary world. So I decided to go into the restaurant business and learn. I studied with chefs from all over South America and all over Europe, mainly in Italy. My menu, this one for Field's Kitchen for the Polish Club, is a little different than Amazing Pizza. It's focused more with the members in mind and their needs. So you'll see a lot of appetizers and salads and sandwiches. It's not focused just on pizza like my place on Pickering Wharf in Salem, although I do have a lot of pasta and sandwiches and salads and appetizers there as well. But my passion is in food and culinary arts. I cook with a lot of high-end quality ingredients, and I love to nourish people. And that's really about it. That's my background. I've been in the business since I was really young, and I'm excited to do the Polish Club. I think people are going to really love the menu and love the food, and I'll be well received.
Oh, I'm good.
Set?
Yep.
Member Trask?
What days and hours will you be open?
Paul Murray actually apologized for not being able to come tonight. He was planning on meeting me here, but the parking lot is being paved.
Resurfaced, yep.
Resurfaced, and the folks want to do it a week ahead of time. So we had to go to the club to make sure there weren't any functions and put any Band-Aids on things. So he asked me to be there Thursday through Sunday from 4 o'clock to 9
Great.
p.m. So we're going to just start with that.
Very good. I have no other questions. Thank you.
Okay. And this is only for the members of the club, or can
Correct.
I just walk in and it's not like an ordinary?
It's a membership.
Okay.
So you have to be a member to enjoy my cuisine. Or you can join.
No other. Okay. This
Oh,
is
yeah,
a-
we have sponsorship, yes.
Oh, perfect. Good to know. This is a public hearing. So is there any questions for any members of the public?
I move we close the public hearing.
Second,
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
aye.
Okay. I will need a motion.
But before we make a motion, I'd just like it to be clear, she's coming in and operating in the kitchen, preparing the food, serving it, collecting the funds. It's not, the Polish Club itself is not doing anything other than providing her with space. Is that
Correct.
That
That
was
is
my
correct, sir.
understanding of-
Right, just so it's clear to the public. And yes, there are memberships available at the Polish Club if anybody's interested. Come down, tell them Dan sent you, and we'll get you the paperwork.
My entire family is joining the club now. Just because they can't find parking on Pickering Wharf, they're like, oh, we'll go to the club, though. So,
A motion that we approve the application of Amazing Pizza inside the Polish Club, Jacqueline Field, for the common vicular license at that location.
Second the motion.
Any discussions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, 3-0. Thank you. So I will be moving item
You
7.
want these back, Jacqueline?
Sure, thank you.
It's my understanding that Member Trask is gonna recuse himself from item 7.
Correct.
I'll be-
Again, under disclosure, in this event, I am one of the events that are listed here. I think I don't actually get paid for that directly. I forego that in favor of the Historical Society. And so I am, but that means we have, and unless the town manager advises or town clerk advises otherwise, can the 2 members vote?
No, that's fine. I'll move it
wait.
until the Madam Chair gets here, and then we
Very
will
good.
go back
So we're just
to
going to
it.
table this
So
until,
we
I move
table-
we table this until a later point in the meeting.
Are you okay with that?
I'm going to have a problem as vice president of the Historic Society. I'm here to support, but I won't vote.
So even when Maureen shows up, it'll be only 2 people voting. And I thought about that, Dan. And I'll ask either the town clerk or the town manager, through you, Mr. Chair. I obviously have a personal vested interest in one of these events. It affects me. So I'm
Just one.
absolutely going to recuse myself. Your participation, granting this doesn't enrich you.
No.
So
I just-
I would leave it to the town manager to,
Yeah, I would say the recuse, one disclosure, like you did with the Polish Club, you're essentially just a member, and you need to disclose that you can, if you think you can make your,
I'm more than a member here.
but you think you can make a decision fair and impartial, and do you?
Without a doubt.
And do you, the second question is, do you stand, you or a family member stand to benefit financially from the vote?
I do not.
Okay, then you can
I
definitely
have
vote, yeah.
No,
And we should certainly vote on at least the 2 that Gardner's not participating in, but you also disclose that you do not benefit financially, or a family member benefit financially. So I think you guys are okay to vote.
okay, fine, thank you. Just clarify that. Okay, so just need Maureen, will
Yes.
be fine.
So
Sorry, Mr. George, you'll have to wait.
that's okay. So, Madam Clerk, so we'll go to number 8.
A public hearing will be held under Chapter 138 of the General Laws on the application of Mama Molten, Inc., doing business as Panini Pizzeria, 1 Maple Street, Christopher Salvo, owner, for a change of category from wines and malt beverages to an all-alcohol beverage license at that location.
Who's here to speak to that?
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Nancy McCann. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. With me tonight is Christopher Salvo. He is the president and treasurer of Mama Molten, Inc., doing business as Panini Pizzeria on Maple Street. The board may recall back in 2016, this board granted a beer and wine license to Mr. Salvo for this restaurant, and he's been operating for 10 years at the Maple Street location with the beer and wine license without any issue. You may also recall that prior to moving to Maple Street, he operated in Danvers for 9 years on Cherry Street. So he's been operating a restaurant in the downtown area for almost 20 years now without any incident. He would like the opportunity to offer his customers an all-alcohol experience, offer some additional options for beverages, cocktails, specialty cocktails to meet some requests and desires of his customers. So we are seeking tonight to change the category of the liquor license from beer and wine to an all-alcohol license. No other changes are proposed to the application. And we would be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, is all the paper in order?
The paperwork is in order, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Member Trask.
I have no questions. I've been a patron of the restaurant, and I have I feel comfortable that you'll manage it in the same manner as you do the wine and the beer and wine license now.
Okay, thank you. Member Bennett.
Thank you. Well-run operation. As Nancy said, there's been no issues. But just so the public is aware, there's no serving or drinking of alcohol outside in front of your establishment, because that's town property.
Yes.
So you just have to be very careful of that.
We have
And,
a sign posted to, no one can bring beer or alcohol.
right, no
outside.
alcohol beyond this point, correct? Yeah,
Exactly.
good, thank you. Be diligent with that. Now, I want to come from left field, if I may. Do you have a dumpster?
I do, yeah, I have a dumpster, yes.
So, I'm not going to say it's you, but somebody downtown has their trash picked up at 5:30 on Monday mornings,
Okay,
6:30 on Fridays. The town bylaw says no rubbish pickup, commercial or residential, before 7 a.m.
okay,
The responsibility is on the owner or landlord, the business owner, to enforce that with their haulers.
okay.
The police can fine anybody that's found guilty. I just warn you that it's happening. I can't put eyes on who it is, but just be diligent with your haulers and make sure they're not picking up before 7 a.m., please.
Yeah, we do Tuesday, every Tuesday afternoon they come pick. up.
Okay, so you're not the guilty
I hope
party.
I'm not,
Good.
yeah, I don't think.
All right,
I'll
well,
make
we'll
sure I let
eliminate,
my
I gotta
dumpster guy
eliminate you
know.
guys one at a time till we
No, I'm
find
gonna,
the
I'll
culprit.
make sure to reach out to them and let them know.
I don't know,
just in
thank
case.
you. Thank you. I'm all set.
Okay. I do not have a question at this moment. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the public who has a question? Hear none.
Motion to close public hearing?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I will need a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the increased liquor license to all alcoholic.
I second the motion.
Any further discussions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank
luck.
you
Good
very
luck.
much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just the one spot, right? Just one spot to sign?
Yep.
I didn't check.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You ready to move on?
Yeah.
A public hearing will be held under Chapter 138 of the General Laws on the application of Vishiv Corp. Doing business as Village Food Shop, 37 High Street, Danvers, Dashna Patel, owner, for a transfer of a package store wine and malt beverage license to that location. The license was previously held by Newbridge Variety and Deli at 9 Bridge Street.
Okay, who's here to speak to that?
Yes, members of the Select Board, good evening. For the record, I'm Robert Cornetta. I have a law office at 153 Andover Street in Danvers. I'm representing the Shiv Corporation tonight. The principal of that corporation is Dashna Patel, who is with me. Ms. Patel is a resident of Danvers. You're probably familiar with this site. It's at 37 High Street. It is the Village Food Mart. It has been there for a number of years. This is an application for a malt and wine package license only. We have provided the information that has been required by the town in making out this application. The premises would be utilizing a storage area in the back of the first floor for purposes of storage of product. In addition to that, the premises has 2 entrances and exits, in addition to an ADA access ramp. A copy of the Town of Danvers liquor guidelines has been subscribed to by Ms. Patel. You have a copy of that in your, or in the package that was provided to the town. In addition to that, Ms. Patel and our office have drafted a 7-point written policy regarding alcoholic beverage package sales, so that there will be no issue or questions about any violations that would occur on site. In addition to that, of course, the regulatory notices that the town requires to be posted and maintained on the premises would in fact be maintained on the premises. All of the employees will be TIPS trained. In addition to that, and I will provide it at the end of my remarks, we have a petition signed by 351 persons, mainly from Danvers, who are in support of this retail product being sold by package at that location for the convenience of the public. You're probably aware of the fact that this store has been in existence for a while. In addition to being a convenience store, Ms. Patel also is a lottery agent, and lottery products are sold on the premises. We have provided to the board through the application the financials as to how this application will in fact be financed, and that will be through a HELOC loan that Ms. Patel intends to take out. The hours of operation are 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. on regular days, 7 to 9 on holidays. And yes, Ms. Patel does have a dumpster, and we will definitely notify them that there is to be no morning disturbance in terms of collection of refuse at that location.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I don't like repeating myself, so thank you.
Very good. With that, if you have any questions, I would be happy to try and answer them for you. And we would respectfully ask your consideration for this transfer of license, which, by the way, is coming from 9 Bridge over to 37 Highland. 37 High.
Thank you for the information. Madam Clerk, the paperwork is in order, and I also understand there was a supplemental.
The paperwork is in order, and there was a slight misunderstanding about the hours that the manager would be on site. She thought it was per day rather than per week. So that piece has been
Corrected.
resubmitted and corrected in the packet.
And you also did get an alternate, and we're working on a third alternate. Is that correct?
Working on additional alternate. I believe that we are looking for one more tip certification from one of those people, but they're working on that.
Perfect. Thank you. Board member, any questions? Member Bennett?
Thank you, yes. The hours are 6 to 11, but what are the hours for selling the alcohol?
We would anticipate that they would be probably the same hours, where it's a package, or am I to be corrected?
8 to 11.
8 to 11, I am informed.
8 to 11?
Yes,
For
yes, sir.
sale of,
Package product only, beer and wine.
It's a Danvers.
what's that?
Yeah.
Okay, so 8 to 11, and then 8 to 9 for sales on the holidays?
On the on weekend, holidays.
Holidays, okay.
Yes,
And we understand this is for to-go only?
Yes.
it
Is there any-
package only, no product to be consumed on the premises. Ms. Patel also has closed-circuit television in the store, so to make sure that, there is no sales that are being broken open in the store and to be consumed there, that would be an absolute no-no and would not be tolerated. In addition to that, obviously, we're fully aware of the fact that the issue of minors, you cannot obviously purchase liquor, and no one also can purchase it for them. So we would be monitoring all of that by closed-circuit television.
Right, and your location makes you a little subject to some kids maybe running in and trying to purchase while you're busy with the lottery tickets, and
Yes.
so you're going to have to really be diligent.
Yes. We will also have a bar scanner there for purposes of protecting
For the license is good.
persons there. And the layout is that the packaged product will be somewhat further to the back of the store so that the on-site manager at any given moment in time will be able to physically monitor what is transpiring at the location.
Glad to hear that. Well, wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Trask?
Thank you. Just a couple of questions. You do understand why we were concerned. I've been in the store, and you do have the lottery seating area. It's a kind of a lounge for the lottery players, so we were concerned that obviously some may take advantage, purchase, and consume, but I'm hearing you say you're not going to do that. I'm presuming all your clerks are over the age of 18?
Yes.
Okay. And liquor sales can start at 8 o'clock on weekdays and on Saturdays, but not until 10 on Sundays, so. And I want to thank the clerk for following up. I did notice the number of hours and the discrepancy, and thank you for the clarity. The third alternate, Shivam Patel,
Yes.
and is going to be certified. Is going to be
Yes.
certified? Okay. And because, again, you're open 120 hours a week. So we want to make sure that you have, our regulations say that at any point in time that the store is open, there has to be someone on this list in the store to manage and monitor the sale. If all of those are going to be covered, then I don't think I have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing, so is there anyone in the public who has a question? Yes. If you can just go to the mic and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Benjamin Fournier. I've owned the condo over the store for about 20 years. My main concerns are the possible effect on property values for the people who live in this building, because this building consists of 8 units and only one is the store. Also, the possibility of people drinking in the parking lot. Over the last 20 years, I haven't seen it recently, but I have seen empty bottles left in the parking lot. I'm concerned this could create a problem. I understand they're going to be looking for it, they're going to try, but these things do happen. And those are my main concerns, is that, you know, how is this going to play out for the people who actually live in this building, because it's mostly residential, and how diligently are we going to be on the public drinking? Now, I haven't seen anything recently, and I can't say who did what or when, but those are my concerns as someone who's lived in this town for many decades and lived in this particular home for 20 years. And that's just basically what I wanted to say.
Okay. Thank you.
You want to make a comment to that effect?
You are the applicant.
No, can I make?
Sure,
If
go
I may,
ahead.
no, I appreciate his concern about the public drinking in the parking lot. I would just point out that would be the same concern at Merchants or any other store selling alcohol.
Yeah, but there's not people who live.
Sorry,
But they live
just 1
nearby.
second.
So I'm just saying, it's a valid concern, but we frankly don't have an answer for that unless the owner wants to offer something.
Thank you. Any comments?
I can offer the following, and I echo your comment that the possibility of that happening, of course, can happen anywhere where liquor is available on a retail basis. The saving character, if you will, for my client is the fact that, number one, she has a built-in clientele. People have frequented this establishment for many, many years. Some of them are senior citizens. She obviously values the clientele, and insofar as drinking outside the store or in the parking area, Ms. Patel and/or the manager on site at the time would be the first one to pick up the phone and dial 911 and seek to remedy that issue. It does not serve my client well in any way, shape, or form to have persons consuming alcohol outside that premises. The value that she places on her clientele is significant enough that you would want to protect them at all times.
Thank you.
Could I ask a clarification? I didn't realize there was parking there. How many public parking spots? Because for the most part, I thought parking was on the street, and you certainly wouldn't sit in the street and drink. Right.
There are 2 dedicated spaces on the side of the building.
Okay.
And
In
the
that
rest
little,
of it.
I don't want to call it an alleyway,
Yeah.
but this, okay.
And the rest of it is street parking.
And I appreciate the gentleman's concerns. I don't think there's any way we can make a corollary between a business that sells alcohol and the property values of the surrounding area. And I would think that the first remedy is if you see bottles and see things happening, that you can either speak to the owner or you can call the police. But as far as weighing in on the decision to grant a liquor license, I wouldn't be letting that sway me. The potential is there. I appreciate it, but I think it's there anywhere you can purchase liquor. And yes, many of the places don't have residence right there, but it's still a possibility. So,
Mr. Trask, also, our office is located right in Danvers, and I would state to the gentleman this evening that if there are any issues, you could call our office because we're in constant contact with our client, and if there's any issue like that, you can rest assured that we would be taking it up with law enforcement to make sure that that wouldn't happen. And if you like, I can give you our contact information after the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other? Yes? And while you're going to the mic, I will just notice that Madam Chair has just arrived, and I will update her and say we're working on item number 9. This is board members have asked questions, and this is given the fact that it's a public hearing, we're now having questions from the members of the public. So,
Thank you.
and
Thank you
after
so
that,
much.
you can take over on 10. So,
Yeah, thank you.
go ahead.
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I'm not a member of the board. I do know Ms. Patel, and I have full faith in what she wants to do. I would be voting if I were a member of the board. I'm not. But I have full faith that she will do what she says she's going to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Yes?
Good evening. I am Andrea Kujawa. I have been a resident of Danvers for about 28 years. I'm very proud to call myself a Danvers resident. I do know Ms. Patel. I have no vested interest in her business, but I frequent her store, and I would want the town to know, as one of her frequent flyers, that if I caught anybody drinking, you'd see me out there, and you'd want to call the police on me. That's all I'm going to say. And rest assured, I have children, and I would even call on my own children. I have faith. But she has a very well-established clientele there. Her
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Congratulations and good luck, Mrs. Patel.
Thank you very much. I will present you with that petition, 351 signatures. And I'd also like to thank the clerk for all of the assistance that she gave us. Those applications are very, very complicated. And she was very kind to help us through the process. Thank you all very much.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Dee.
Madam Chair, you can take
I am back,
So
and my apologies for
what
being
we
late.
actually did, we moved 7, we tabled 7
Okay,
because Member Truss was going to abstain.
okay.
So
We
if
need-
we can go back to 7
Mm-hmm.
and then to 10 after, and then move on
Wonderful.
from there.
Wonderful. Excellent. Do you want me to, I'll take over.
Please.
The board will consider applications by Louis George, event coordinator, Danvers Historical Society, 11 Page Street, for 3 one-day wine and malt licenses for the following events at Glen Magna Farms on the following dates: Tuesday, June 23rd, 5 to 8 p.m., Summer Music Beer Garden, rain date June 24th. Tuesday, July 21st, 5 to 8 p.m., Summer Music Beer Garden, rain date July 22nd. Tuesday, August 25th, 5 to 8 p.m., Summer Music Beer Garden, rain date August 26th. Hello, Louis. How are
Hi.
you? Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Louis George. I'm the president of the Danvers Historical Society. I'm also the event coordinator for the 3 summer music beer gardens that are going to be that are scheduled to be held this coming summer. And this is an event that we've had really now continuously since 2021. Since 2021, and really the whole idea of it was to sort of a pickup on what was previously done in years past of History Hot Dogs in Harmony, of having an event, a summer event at Glen Magna Farms, and really to help people, help residents of Danvers and the surrounding communities get to know the Danvers Historical Society, get to know Glen Magna Farms. And so during the course of these events, we've had We've had people coming from, both from Danvers, people who come in with their kids who are live down the street, as well as people coming from surrounding areas, people who had their weddings there at Glen Magna years ago, and those who are young couples who are just who are having their weddings coming up. And so we have, for the events on the first beer garden schedule, will be open mic. The second will be a local band, Stroke of Luck. And for the third August beer garden will be the Decades of Rock. So we'll have local beers, we'll have Vinwood caterers who will be there. We'll be selling hot dogs and popcorn at a nominal price. We'll have snacks as well as non-alcoholic beverages. With respect to the event itself, we will have a ID check. We do a 100% ID check in terms of coming in, regardless of how old you are. It's like going to Fenway Park. So we check IDs for people coming in if they wish to drink. We do issue people wristbands as well. Those who are serving the beer will be are tip certified. I'm tip certified as well. And so we've had the happy to answer any questions that the board might have. But this is part of our sort of kicking off to summer. We have a number of other events that we're going to be having this summer as well. And so happy to talk about that as well, but happy to entertain any questions the board might have.
Thank you. Dan, do you have questions?
Thank you. I must disclose, you weren't here earlier, we had a discussion. Okay. I am Vice President of the Historic Society. Mm-hmm. I receive no compensation for that. I have no financial interest in these events, and I don't serve beer to anybody. So I'm happy to listen to the application and vote if needed, but I can be impartial.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dan. Gardner?
I am going to recuse myself, and so I shouldn't ask questions.
Okay. D?
I'm not a member. I go to events. No questions, no.
All right, well, I'm not a member either, but I'm familiar even with the Harmony and hot dogs, so that's kind of dating ourselves here. Okay. But it's a great event. You already went over that you're tip certified. Everything's in order. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great, I think everybody should attend at least one of them.
Yeah.
And so we will have a vote for that. Do I have
Is it public hearing?
No.
public hearing?
It's not a public
it's not a public hearing, so I just say,
But
well, with the Madam Clerk, is everything in order with your?
I would, the paperwork is in order, but Member Bennett should vote if Member Trask does
Yes,
not.
right.
Okay, thank
Yep,
you.
I
We need
will
three,
vote.
right? Okay, so we'll take a vote.
I move that we accept the application as presented.
Okay, do I have a second? I'll do a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstained, right?
And Madam Chairman, if I may
Yes.
make mention, the Historic Society welcomes all Danvers residents to come and join the society. And we're also looking for people that really have an interest in the community to serve on our Board of Trustees. Mm-hmm. Again, you don't get paid. It's not heavy lifting, but we need X amount of trustees to run the organization. It's not just the 3 properties that we're charged with maintaining, it's the collection at Tapley Hall. We have 4 member staff full-time, we have part-time staff, we have a part-time curator, we have a new gardener up at Glen Magna. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities to be a gardener, work in the collections. So I urge anybody with any interest in Danvers history to reach out to Laura at our office, and the phone number is 978-1666. Please consider. Thank you.
Oh, Dan. Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Great.
Did I steal something? Your thunder, Louis? I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Madam Chair, may I say
Sure.
a few additional words as well?
Absolutely.
Just picking up on what Mr. Bennett said, yes, if anyone is interested in participating in the events of the society, we are, and if they would like to join, it's a vibrant society. We've really, even in terms of the whole genesis for the beer gardens was coming from our events committee, in which one of our Nora Hooley was one of our, had the idea originally of being of let's do something that is sort of different, and that's something to get people to, who may not necessarily come to historic society functions to to get involved and to find out more about the society. And as Mr. Bennett mentioned, we have a number of events coming up as well. We do have our annual plant sale coming up at Glen Magna Farms. That's May 22nd and 23rd. At our annual town meeting, we have an active Rev 250 committee commemorating the 250th anniversary of independence, in which there will be a special vote with respect to seceding from the crown. And then on July 4th, we'll be involved as well with Representative Kearns, the reading of the Declaration of Independence as well. So we do have a number of events, so definitely check out our website, danvershistory.org, as well as Dan mentioned, our telephone. They can reach out to Laura Silly at 978-777-1666 for any further details.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You do a great job.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, so item number 10, Madam Clerk, just said.
That applicant has withdrawn at this time and will resubmit when they're ready.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And then, let's see, we'll go to number 11. The board will discuss and potentially vote to authorize Danvers Public Schools to expend $750,000 from the Special Education Stabilization Fund. And who is here? We have the pleasure of our wonderful superintendent of schools.
Thank you for those kind words, Madam Chair, and thank you. This request is for withdrawal of the Special Education Stabilization Fund. This has been approved by the school committee in April, and the amount is $750,000. And the purpose for this is that this allows us to close our budget for this year. There were some unintended changes to placements that occurred outside of our budget planning for this current fiscal year, and that happens sometimes. I try to be very careful to not identify, cases specifically, but just in general terms that their evaluations occur on a regular basis, and a few of these have led to increased needs and services that do move to residential placements. There were two. Again, I'm trying to be careful not to identify, but there were some residential situations on one scenario that we've worked with our attorney that we are liable for funding this year, but not next year. So these changes did occur outside of the budget planning for this particular year. So we respectfully request withdrawal from the Special Education Stabilization Fund for $750,000.
Okay. Gardner?
I have no
Questions?
questions, thank you. I understand the nuance that you're trying to make, but people should understand that it's either students who receive IEPs or educational program reviews that may require more help or support than they originally intended, or people move in and out of town on a regular basis, and that will have an effect. So I appreciate that you can't budget, and it wasn't a lack of appropriate budgeting at the time that you did it a year ago. It's the nature of the school system and people, the transience of it, of people coming in and out of town. So I'm all set with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Gardner. Dan?
Thank you. I understand the need for the 750, but we're also taking a vote at the special town meeting to transfer $1 million from free cash to the schools. What is that for, and why do you need both?
To be very simple, the cost for a typical residential placement is well over $250,000, and there are several that are considered, so the amount of placements to close the gap exceeds the request of $750,000, so we need both.
So the million is also for the same?
That is correct.
Purpose?
Same purpose.
So the actual amount needed is $1,750,000. How much money will be left in this education stabilization fund after this withdrawal?
Sorry, my understanding is $500,000.
Will be left.
Yes, that's correct.
If I may, Madam Chair, to the manager, are we putting money into the stabilization fund this year?
We did not put money into the stabilization fund this year.
So we're drawing it down.
Which is one of the reasons that we decided to limit the amount that we withdrew from stabilization and put the additional $1 million from free cash. We didn't want to zero out the balance.
Thank you.
You all set, Dan?
Yep.
Okay, Dee?
So just to clarify, so the additional $1 million will be still to close this year, or that will also cover some of next year?
That will help close this year.
Okay.
Yes.
No other questions?
Okay. All right, Dan. Thank you, Dan, for letting us know about that. Do I have a motion?
I move we accept the recommendation, I move we vote to authorize the Public Danvers Schools to expend $750,000 in the Special Education Stabilization Fund.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your support.
Madam Chair, if I may, can we take a 2-minute recess so that the SESD folks can get set up?
Sure.
And recognize that Representative Sally Kearns has joined us as well. Thank you.
Ready? Thank you. All right, the board will hear a presentation by South Essex Sewer District, Michael Parsons, Chairman, SESD, Board of Directors, and David Michelson, Executive Director. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us tonight. As the Madam Chairman said, I'm Mike Parsons. I'm Chairman of the board at South Essex. We're a 6-member board. I'm the independent member, if you will. Steve King here is tonight, and I'm sure you all recognize that Steve is the Danvers representative to the board. Dave Michelson is not here tonight. His daughter is graduating from a college in Atlanta, and he's down there celebrating that event. So in his place, we have our district engineer, Peter Pomerschein, and we also have our general counsel, Kristen Kolick, from the firm of Carenti Kolick in Salem. So our message tonight is really can be summarized by saying we face serious financial challenges at the district, and if they continue, it will limit our ability to fulfill our mandate and provide adequate wastewater treatment. At the same time, we recognize the communities have many funding issues, some very similar to ours, but we'd be remiss if we didn't bring them forward at this point and work with the communities to come up with a reasonable solution. And we recognize that it comes at a very high price tag. As you hear from my presentation, the district is looking for some level of exemption from Proposition 2.5. We're currently subject to it at this moment, and we have been for quite a while, but we're looking for an exemption. We've made similar presentations to your state legislative delegation. We did one to a group of community leaders, and in the last week and a half, we've been in front of Peabody and Beverly. We're here tonight, and we'll be speaking in Marblehead and Salem in the next week and a half. After that series of presentations, we'll be coming back in some form, I'm not sure quite yet what it is, looking for a resolution from your board in support of our request for financial assistance. We don't have that resolution at the moment. We're waiting to get feedback from each of these community meetings before we put that together. So on the next slide, we have, this is our agenda. It's important to recognize that we have two very distinct types of financial challenges. One deals with our operating budget, and the other deals with capital improvements. The background of the capital improvements is that the plant was renovated and expanded very significantly in the 1990s, so 30 years ago. And a lot of our equipment is now beyond its useful life, outdated, obsolete, and I'll get into that in a minute. And lastly, I'll talk about management's request for special legislation, and we'll talk about that very briefly at the end. Next. By way of background, and you may realize this, South Essex is really a wholesaler of wastewater treatment. We collect the wastewater from each of the member communities, some smaller contributions from Middleton and Wenham, and we in turn assess the cost of that treatment process, conveyance and treatment process, back to the community in the form of assessments. And what this chart shows is since 2000, the total amount of the assessments to the member communities has remained essentially level at about $25 million. And the reason that we've been able to do that is that our operating budget, which is the middle line, has increased gradually within the constraints of Proposition 2.5. And at the same time, the debt service for that work in the 90s that I just mentioned, that debt was exempt from Proposition 2.5, and that debt declined over the same time period. And when you add the bottom two lines together, you get the top line, and that's why it's been essentially level for over 25 years. So if I focus on operating costs first, the pie chart is our operating budget for FY27. That was approved by the board in early April. The sector that I want to focus your attention on is the yellowish lower left-hand corner section. That represents over 40% of our budget, and that is just for operations expenses. Not labor, just expenses, covers electricity, natural gas, chemicals, and the very significant item that it covers is residuals disposal. Residuals are the solids that get produced by the treatment process at the plant. There are multiple treatment processes. They each produce solids. These residuals are all combined, and we have a contract for transportation and disposal of them. And to give you a sense of the magnitude of this issue, essentially every night 3 tractor-trailer loads of residuals get hauled out of our treatment plant for final disposal. It's a huge quantity. We currently spend about $4.5 million a year on residuals disposal. That's out of our $26 million budget total, a very significant portion. We're currently in the last year, we will be in the last year of an 11-year contract for residuals disposal. It was a 5-year contract with 3 2-year renewals. It was indexed to the Consumer Price Index, which was, in hindsight, very favorable to the district. In the last 5 to 8 years, residuals costs, disposal costs have increased at about 7% a year. So we've made out very well, but we know that since FY27 is our last year under the contract, we'll have to rebid this in the fall or next winter sometime to help us prepare our FY28 budget. We'll be doing that a year from now. And we can expect, based on market rates, that the cost of sludge residuals disposal, I call it sludge, but residuals disposal, will increase $1.5 to $2 million. A huge increase, certainly nothing that we can afford to fit in under Proposition 2.5 limitations. Thanks, Peter. This chart also shows our operating budget. The gradually increasing blue line is the Proposition 2.5 limit. I want to move right over to the FY28 stacked bar. The bottom, the major portion of the bar are operating expenses subject to Proposition 2.5. The orange section is some debt service that we have that's not exempt from 2.5. We've taken out some loans in the past, did one very recently through the state to do some very important repairs at the plant. And so we have debt service that needs to be paid for under Proposition 2.5. And then historically, the top green section has been money available to make capital improvements at the plant for equipment that just we can't use any longer. And what this FY28 bar shows that our operating budget will pretty much equal the Proposition 2.5 limit, and we won't have any funds for debt service. But we know we can't do that. We have to pay our debt. So without relief from Proposition 2.5, we will not have enough funds to adequately budget operations at the treatment plant next year, next fiscal year, FY28. So then, Peter, talking about capital needs, infrastructure needs, I mentioned that top bullet line that we did the work 30 years ago. As you can imagine, the equipment's 30 years old. Our maintenance group is doing a terrific job maintaining it, but they find it more and more difficult to find replacement parts. Sometimes they can't. Sometimes they have to machine the parts. If you think about electronic controls that existed 30 years ago are obsolete today. The technology changes rapidly. And we don't have the money in our budget to keep up with all the improvements, and we need to come up with more efficient operating systems at the plant in order to try to further control our costs. We've listed a few key projects on the slide here. The one that is of interest to Danvers, is of importance to Danvers, and also to Beverly, is the harbor crossing that takes the flow from a large pump station on Water Street in Beverly under the harbor over to Salem Willows. It's a single pipe. It's old. We know from investigating other pipelines in the district that it's nearing the end of its useful life. It needs to be replaced, probably with 2 pipes, because redundancy is critically important these days. It wasn't considered that important when this pipe was installed. And we can't do it without a form of debt relief from Proposition 2.5. And there are many other projects that fall in a similar category. If we go to the next one, Peter. So about 3 years ago, we hired 2 consultants to help us plan the district's needs for the next 20 years. One consultant dealt with all the equipment and tankage inside our treatment plant site, and the other dealt with all the major pipelines and pump stations that service the 5 communities. They came up with a 20-year plan. We prioritized the work into 4 5-year periods that are listed here, priority group 1 through 4. We're asking for debt relief for groups 1 and 2. Group 1 is $150 million, very expensive, and group 2 is even more expensive. These are all pieces of equipment or concrete tankage and pipelines within the plant that we know from experience are either at the end of their life or very close to it. So in total, we're looking, as the bottom line shows, we're looking for debt relief for $390 million. So to help us understand the impact on community assessments and how to finance a project like this, we retained the services of the Collins Center. You may be familiar with them. They work out of UMass Boston. They provide municipal consulting services, and in this case, we relied on their financial group to help us. They've come up with projections on assessment increases for each of the member communities, and what we show on this chart are their predictions for Danvers. I think to help put it in perspective, at the bottom of the chart on the left, you can see that your current FY27 assessment is about $4.7 million. Just for the operating budget increase, for FY28, the increase to Danvers would be in the order of $350,000, increasing to $685,000 by FY32. Very significant increases. We're looking at hopefully 5 to 7 years of increases in our first request. And I'll get to that in a minute. And then if you look at the capital plan, priority group 1 projects, the first 5 years we're paying off bond anticipation notes, so the impact on your assessment would be about $115,000 a year. But once there's permanent financing, it would jump to $1.4 million. And the numbers for priority group 2 are also up there on the slide. So this highlights the need for grants. And with the exception of energy conservation grants through the electric utility companies, there are no grants for wastewater treatment improvements. There are loans. The state has a state revolving loan fund program that the district has used. That has been very advantageous. It's a low interest rate program. Sometimes they waive some of the debt, but we're told that there's high competition for that program and reduced funding, so we shouldn't count on it. So the Collins Center in their work focused mainly on a loan program that's operated by the federal EPA and general obligation bonds. So if we go to special legislation, I said we've needed relief from 2.5. Management at the district has recommended to the board that the legislation include these 4 key items. The first is to establish a new budget ceiling that to accommodate the increases in costs that we have. And it would take us from about $26 million as a budget ceiling under current 2.5 limitations and move it to $30.5 million. That's $4.5 million. It's a very big number, but if you think back to what we expect to see with residuals bidding next year at $1.5 to $2 million, a good chunk of that's gone in the first year in addition to other costs. And we're hoping to get 5 to 7 years out of this $4.5 million increase so that we're not back in front of each of the member communities more frequently than that looking for money. We're also looking for a debt exemption for the $390 million so that we can fund priority groups 1 and 2. We currently have a stabilization fund fully funded at $2 million, and it's, by law, it's capped at $2 million, and we're looking to have that capping increased. We've had some emergency repairs at the plant. Some have approached $2 million in cost, and one was $4 million. Unfortunately, we were working on a state-funded project, state-funded project through a loan, and we were able to cover the $4 million in the loan. But if that happened 2 years ago, certainly it could happen again, so we need to have the stabilization fund increased. And then lastly, far less significant, our legislation was first written in 1925. It's 100 years ago, and there's certainly references in there that should be updated. Community that has its own wastewater plant and uses an enterprise fund, they're not subject to 2.5. So we're not asking for treatment that is different than many of the other facilities in the Commonwealth experience. So what are the consequences? I mentioned that with the new sludge bids, we'll not be able to pull together a reasonable budget a year from now. If you look at how to cut our budget, the operations staff, the numbers are quantified, are established by the state. We have a minimum staffing plan, and that's what we have at the district. Our second biggest or next biggest operating unit is maintenance, and to make cuts in maintenance when your equipment is aging out is just not the right thing to do. And our industry certainly recognizes that if you delay repairs and delay replacements and incur emergency repairs, that usually ends up costing significantly more than if you just proceeded and done the repair ahead of time. So what's the result? And without getting too melodramatic, it certainly at some point will be reduced plant reliability. I can't tell you what year it'll be, but it will happen if we don't have funding, adequate funding. We'll have permit violations, certainly harmful water quality impacts to Salem Sound. And then we've seen it happen in other places. There could be monetary penalties, fines, perhaps a federal consent order mandating a plan to get the district back into compliance. And we're trying to avoid all that, and that's why we're looking for the community's help in coming up with a path forward. Lastly, we had put together a timeline that we thought would get us in front of the state legislature this year to consider this legislation. We're running out of time. Each step in the process has taken us considerably longer than we thought it would. That's not a surprise. These are significant issues. We still hope to make a filing this year if we can. So that's the schedule that we're looking at. As I said, we should be done with our community meetings by the middle of May. And so with that, I'll thank you for the opportunity to speak here tonight. And if your evening allows it, we're certainly willing to answer questions.
Thank you very much. Right now, there's no vote for this, and this is just information right now. More information to come. The public, where can they find the information about this? On
We have it on the website,
On the
right?
website, right?
On our
Okay.
website, yes.
All right, good.
Yes.
So I'll open up to questions for the board members. Gardner?
Sure, I do have some questions.
Thank you.
Understandably, the SCSD provides a valuable service for all the communities in the area, and it's a service we pay for. I read this, I saw some preliminary information, I had some good fortune to speak to Stephen King and ask some questions ahead of time so I could formulate some comments. And while you're asking for special legislation to allow you to borrow over the 2.5 limits, the impact will be on the communities that you serve. It won't be on you, other than the ability to do what you want to do in a timely manner that you want to do it. You're constrained by 2.5. I can understand your need to ask for special legislation to forego some of that. I would absolutely not support, as a select board member myself, relieving you of 2.5. I would want to see a plan that says how much you're going to be over 2.5 and for how long. I want a defined number for a defined period of time. Danvers is also subject, the MWRA is not a good example for you. Their rates are astronomical and they don't have controls. We're fortunate not to be in their grasp. We are in the grasp of the Essex Tech, who does not have guidelines for 2.5. They can go up as much as they want, and again, they force that bill. Danvers's amount that pays the Essex Tech went up 12% this year. I think that I have my own issues with 2.5. It was a great idea in the 80s when it was passed, but it should be Prop COLA or Prop CPI or Prop CPI. It should not be no longer be 2.5. It is burdening every community. Danvers only by the, I was going to say by the grace of God have we not had an override, but it's actually to a detriment to this town, not to be able to afford the things we should be able to afford. We can afford to maintain. We're not can't afford to evolve very much. So whatever special legislation or whatever memorandum of understanding or support, whatever you're going to look for from this board, I will tell you I won't vote for anything that does not have clear guidelines on how much you're going to go over 2.5 and for how long. I want those guardrails. And I realize this is not you who's caught, but this is the effect. Every dollar that you go up, our ratepayers are going to go up. And some of the estimates are more than double. It will more than double our ratepayers' abilities. Now, there's a separation because we're an enterprise fund. Our water, sewer, and electric are all municipal enterprise funds. And so there is some distinction and separation. But I don't know how I'm going to tell the citizens of the town that their sewer and water bill is going to double. And I don't know how we're going to do that. So not only in the crafting of the legislation that you're looking for to forego some amount of 2.5, I would hope that the special legislation also allows for some relief to the towns, that it gets pushed down to the towns, that in some manner, shape, or form, we're allowed to go above, the borrowing we're going to have to do for our portions is allowed to be outside the 2.5 constructs. I don't want to use the term override or debt exclusion, but in theory, how can Danvers accept the service increase, support your need for operational and capital improvements, but also not unduly affect our ability to provide services, and not just water and sewer and electric, but all our other services, school, police, fire, everything else, by draining off that amount of money to support you. I'm not saying we shouldn't support you. I'm saying we should find a mechanism to minimize the impact. I've floated a few ideas. I know the town manager is going to be talking to our financial people and engineering people. I don't actually have any issues with the engineering part of this. I feel very confident that the need is there, that it's not overbuilt or you're not over-consuming. It's now about financing and how we get the financing right for the citizens of the town. Whether it's we are allowed outside our enterprise fund cap to go above that cap and start building up a stabilization fund, whatever it could be. There are several opportunities, but if we need to go to special legislation for that, I would want your foray into special education to include that for the cities and towns.
Okay.
I don't want to fight, I don't want to be one of the number of communities fighting individually with the legislation to get relief when this is really relief that we need because of your need.
Sure.
And the reason is we have to budget our very tight budget with consistency and predictability. And if you don't have those controls, and all of a sudden because you've only outlined the $390 million for phase 1 and 2. I'm presuming phase 3 and 4 are equal, if not higher. And maybe you can tell me, no, we anticipate them to be lower, but,
No, we don't.
but you don't.
Yeah, no.
So we're now talking about an $800 million, an $800 or $900 million project over the course of the time frame. I know divvying it up is short-term borrowing, and we should participate in those borrowing discussions, 10-year, 20-year, 30-year borrowing, and what the impacts are. And do you pre-borrow for some later because you have favorable interest rates at the points that you do? So my focus will be on how you're going to help minimize the impact on the cities and towns and support special legislation, not only to get you around the 2.5 limit, but allow Danvers and the other communities to not feel that effect directly. There are ways of mitigating that cost to us, because your 2.5, circumventing 2.5 is only pushing it downstream, for lack of a better, or upstream. Okay,
But go
upstream.
whatever.
But you're pushing,
I get it. No, I
you're just looking to get around borrowing. You're not looking to get around who's going to pay the bill, and it's going to be the communities. It's the nature of the beast, and I'm not knocking you or the SESD. I think you provide a value service, but that's the reality of what you're proposing to do. So, thank you.
That's good, Ghana. Thank you. Dan?
Thank you. Welcome. I've been here 18 years. I've never seen anybody from SESD come and make a presentation to us. Where were you 5 years ago when you started anticipating these problems? Giving us a heads up, maybe find a way to increase our assessments a little bit to put it away for a rainy day fund. Now you're here at the last minute with your hat out because you need special legislation. This time of the year, you're not going to get it. It's going to be next year, I would assume, before any bill is examined, looked at, and brought out of committee, if it even gets out of committee. You've got a tough project to fund. Why are the other resources exempt from 2.5, and you're not?
I think for the ones that I identified, there were probably a different reason for each one. Springfield probably falls into the category of they operate under an enterprise fund. And as I mentioned, a lot of communities that have their own plants operate under an enterprise fund, so they're not subject to 2.5.
Okay.
I don't know the history of the MWRA and how they ended up with budgets that exceed 2.5%. And as I mentioned, the small district, someone writing that legislation had recognized that 2.5 just doesn't work and exempted that district from it. So different reasons, yes. Sorry, yes.
If you could explain, it's in the enabling legislation that created Proposition 2.5. Excuse me, that created SESD. SESD is treated as a municipality.
Sally, you want to go up? And board members, if you have specific questions this isn't questions for the public, however, but if board members have specific questions for Sally or Steve, that can be allowed. Thank you.
Sally Kern, State Representative, 13th Essex District. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. And Steve King, the amazing Steve King, is sort of the face of SESD because he's our representative on the SESD board. It used to be Rick Rogers, going way back in the Wayback Machine. Just wanted you to clarify that the legislation that created the South Essex Sewerage District in 1925 created it as though it is a municipality. That is why it is subject to the constraints of Prop 2.5. Yes? No?
I think that,
Have at it.
There was no 2.5 in 1925.
I didn't think so,
what's
either.
that?
There was no 2.5 in
Oh.
1925.
No, there wasn't. No.
Municipality, its very definition
What-
is why it's subject.
Okay.
It's my understanding, and you referenced Proposition 2.5 being enacted in the 1980s. And it did not include a reference to an entity like South Essex. So there was follow-up legislation. How am I doing? Say, hey, coaches. Follow-up legislation that was specifically focused on districts. And that's why we fall under Prop 2.5, is my understanding. And perhaps MWA is not considered a district, it's an authority. Falls outside.
All right, so back to my comment is, you're here now, where have you been? This didn't just happen overnight. 30-year-old plant, we understand, it's outdated, you need to do a lot of work. And it's, how are you gonna convince the communities that it's the right thing to do? It's not the wrong thing to do, but how do we convince our communities? You know, 2.5, I think only 41% of the bills filed for 2.5 in the communities have passed. 59% haven't passed. It's not a good record if you're looking to overcome 2.5.
Well, my answer to that part is, this is the only course of action that we thought had a chance of success, and that is state legislation. But we still need the assistance, the help of all the communities. And what I heard from this gentleman is some extra thoughts that we'll take into consideration on how to formulate the legislation to maybe address some of your concerns. But that's the best we can do right now.
I'm not knowledgeable enough about your operating budget and the debt and all that. I mean, I try to read this every year. Again, nobody comes and explains it to us and allows us to ask questions, so I'm not versed enough to be able to ask intelligent questions other than say, where have you been? And good luck. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dan. Dee?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation and for the work that you and your staff do to, on behalf of our community. I understand the importance of maintaining safe and, updating all the infrastructures, especially, with their ages. At the same time, as we all know, residents are under some true financial stress. So my thought is, it's important that we find a way to educate the residents, the public, so that we understand the need for this to move, so we fully understand the need for this to move forward and the impact that it will have if we do it or if we don't do it. It's a tall order at the 11th hour, but I think that is where I feel like that's where we're gonna need a lot of work. When I look at, I had a few notes on the presentation. So when I look at the last slide, or the second to last one, just before the thank you, you had like a plan of action there, like a proposed timeline. Yes, the proposed timeline that started January. There was obtained member community support, and we wanted to file the legislation in May. Why is May? So I got that maybe from January to May. Were you going to other communities, or is that what was happening? And then there was also a slide where you said there was some community, you met with some community leaders. How did that happen, and when did that happen? And who were those people that were involved in this educational process?
So back in December, we started with a meeting with the state legislative delegation that covers the sewer district. And it was recommended that we then move on to meeting with community leaders, such as the town manager, mayors. They were able to bring in key community officials, but we wanted to avoid the open meeting law challenges of having city councilors and boards of selectmen at the meeting. So we did that meeting in January, and the input that we received caused us to rethink our approach. And in fact, the community leaders were looking for controls over our request. We were actually asking for unlimited relief from 2.5, and they came back and said, no, we need controls. That took some time for us to figure out what form the controls might be, and that's how we ended up with that slide that we put up there. We then intended to start meeting with the communities in February and March, but as board members went back to their communities and talked about this issue, it was clear that there were a lot of unanswered questions, and we weren't ready to make these presentations. And that's when I said this whole process took a lot longer than we thought it would. And so that's how we ended up here. The community presentation piece started, I guess, in April. Okay. And then we'll be done, as I said, in the middle of May.
So thank you. Now, when I look at the slide that talks about the Centennial Plan, and you have the priority groups 1 through 4. Mm-hmm. In the 1990s, when they did the update, did they have anything like that? Did they projected any update coming down the pipeline and have like how it will be funded, how capital improvement will happen, or we just starting that now?
Well, so in the 1990s, the background is the level of treatment that was being provided at that point in time was the first level of treatment. We call it primary. There was no secondary treatment where you really make great steps to purify the water. And so they had in front of them, at the time, I think it was a $250 million program to upgrade the old plant and expand the plant to provide the secondary level of treatment. And I would have to say, not being in this position back then for sure, that their sole mission was to get that project complete. And when it was completed in the late 90s, the treatment plant, a lot of it was essentially new. Some of the pipelines certainly were old and are much older now, but most of the equipment was new. And so there was, in hindsight, a sigh of relief. Plus, we had a large debt to pay off, and we had the limits of Proposition 2.5 on our operating budget. And so that all fit together, and that's why those assessments stayed level. But I think that's what happened back then. And it was, I don't know, 3 years ago when we hired the consultants, so maybe our director at the time, Dave Michelson, started to think that we needed to come up with a 20-year plan and got the board agreed to it. And so we started our work 3 or 4 years ago, but it took a while to get all the work done and to come up with this four-step program.
Thank you. And have you considered separating the capital aspect with the operation. I mean, this is a big price tag. So is that something you've looked into if we did only capital improvement now and operational improvement later, or they have to go together?
I really think they have to go together. Operating, if you were to say what's the most important, it's certainly the operating budget. Once we take the bids, I keep saying it over, for the residuals, and we are stuck with that, what we believe will be a very significant increase, without adequate funds to operate the plant and to continue to try to maintain it, we can't do our job. Now, that being said, at the same time, our old equipment gets older and older. And so to me, it's not an either-or proposition. We really need to be working on both, and that's the challenge, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, I think the key here, like I said before, is going to be educational. I mean, we are flush and we have no idea what happens after that, right? So learning more about this, and it's impressive, the works that happen behind the scene. I had no idea, and I can just imagine other people out there being like, what are you talking about? We thought you threw everything in the ocean or incinerate or something, right? So having some guardrails will be helpful as well. I think, but education is going to be key. How does that happen? What is the proper format or the proper way? But I think people will need to understand the why, because it's urgent. It has to happen. It will happen one way or another. Easy way or the hard way, but I think if we emphasize educating and informing the public, that will be helpful. Okay.
Excellent, thank you. And thank you for your presentation, and I go along with my board members with the education, why now, the big price, the financials that Gardner has pointed out that we'd like to see. And Jill, can you tell us when they would be coming back again?
That's something that the board will decide. I think, as the chairman said, they are going to bring the feedback. They have 2 more communities to meet with, take the feedback that they receive from all of the boards and councils. That way we'll see what their final resolution that they're bringing forward to you. So I don't know yet. I'm going to assume in June.
Probably.
July.
Yeah.
Will that be a presentation of the special legislation they're going to be asking for? Is that the intent? That we're signing off on what
I believe what the request is to the board will be to support a vote in favor or against, but obviously they're looking for in favor of a resolution for them to proceed to the state legislature and request special legislation be filed. So my understanding is that they are trying to get that special legislation correct and meet as many of the asks of the member communities as possible. So you will have that legislation in front of you. Yes, whether it's the chairman or Stephen representing the board to help answer questions. Stephen will obviously be here. Rodney will be here. I do want to comment that Coley Rebecki, our chair of our Water and Sewer Board, is also in attendance. They have been to the Water and Sewer Board as well. So obviously there's a few players in this, but my understanding, the ultimate question is support for a resolution to pursue special legislation.
Okay. If I might Madam Chair, I had another point.
Go ahead, Gardner, sure.
Like I said, the things I'd want to see in this special legislation you're going to propose is your defined controls. Some methodology of passing some of that relief down to the cities and towns to allow us relief from the new bill, whether it's our ability to bill outside 2.5, or in our case where we might want to Our cap on retained earnings might be raised so that we don't run into state laws that prohibit us from going above retained earnings caps that we have. The other thing I'd like to see, and I'm asking this of Essex Tech, and I'm going to talk to my legislatures as well, is if you get grants or some other monies that you did not anticipate, some form of funding that wasn't baked into this, with the presumption you're going to have to borrow everything. If you get something, I want to see that relief go back to the cities and towns as opposed to additional operational increases or projects. You have a list, you have a punch list of projects you want to do, and you left some of these operational projects aside because you can't afford them right now. What I want to know is if the federal government, the state government, if someone gives you a bucket of money to support your needs, that bucket of money is actually then redistributed back or reduced back to the cities and towns, as opposed to, oh, let's add these other 3 things that we've left on the side into the plan. And I'm not saying it has to be 100%, but the consideration has to be that if you get extra funding that you're not budgeting in here, that actually is to the benefit of your supporting communities directly, as opposed to just more capital improvements. And I support capital improvements. Our schools are aging. Our facilities are aging. We would love to have a new DPW building. We've been fighting one for decades. And new costs keep delaying those things. So I'd like to see that part of your plan. Thank you.
Excellent. I think that's a good point, Gardner. And we also have more time will allow us to talk more with Representative Kearns and with our DPW director, so we have more information. Okay. Did you?
If I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Just an additional question here. Has any effort been made so far to control, reduce costs, and improve efficiency before we get to this level?
So the biggest change, and it's taken place over 20 years, is our staff count has been reduced by 11. I don't have, you can tell I don't have the exact number. A significant reduction in staff over the last 15 to 20 years. That's one. We constructed, it's called a combined heat and power system. And what it allows us to do is combust natural gas to generate electricity and then take advantage of the waste heat for all our heating requirements at the plant. So it was a big energy efficiency project that had a reasonable payback period. And I also referred to energy improvements of all kinds, motors we have some motors of all sizes, some huge motors, and we've moved to make those more efficient. So over the last 10, 15 years, we've done a significant number of projects to try to make us more efficient. Some of the real keys come in residuals processing. I keep coming back to that. 30 years ago, we installed equipment that squeezes the water out of the residuals as much as you can. Well, the equipment that's available today does a better job. The more water you squeeze out of the material, the less it weighs, and we pay by the ton. So there's a great opportunity, but it might take $30 million to replace that equipment. Now, there's a payback period, but we can't consider it unless we have debt relief.
Okay.
So we've done things like that.
The answer is yes, you've done. And I think in the educational aspect, those are important things to point out. These are some of the steps that we've taken to not only decrease costs, but to improve efficiency before we got to this level where we're kind of like stuck. Speaking of education, sorry, I'll come back. Is there a plan? Do you have like a plan to educate and engage the public, or are you thinking of doing one? Or
Well, the work that we've done so far, and it just happened within the last week, is we have a press release that's gone out to media outlets and nonprofits that are interested in the environment. And so we've taken that first step. The staff also attends school events. It's not a comprehensive approach, I would say, but anytime there's an opportunity or a fair or something, we're there. And that's something we haven't done in our history. So we've started doing a number of those things, and Dave Michelson, we're here tonight, he could speak to those. He's been directly involved in those. We have a woman that's involved in community relations, and we're asking her to take on some of those. But beyond that, we don't have a higher level, more comprehensive plan in place yet, but I hear what you say tonight, so
Yeah.
we'll give it.
And even regular update in the future, will, like the member Bennett was saying, will be very helpful. Last question for me. Help me out here. I'll get home, my neighbor will knock on the door or see me at Market Basket. D, my water is going to go up 400%. What are you guys doing over there? Help me talk to that neighbor. What do I say? How do I educate that neighbor?
Well, I don't know where the 400% comes from.
No, I'm just,
But-
I'm not saying that,
But
I'm just,
no,
I just made that up, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, I probably saw it somewhere, but.
Well,
That was hypothetical.
It will be there by now.
Yeah, I know, but this is what's going to happen, right? Because
And
there's
I
going to be
think-
misinformation, misunderstanding, and I'm just trying to find ways to be able to break it down, elevator pitch. I can't just say you're lying, but what advice do you have for us as we navigate these challenging times?
Well, I think first, we
As
need
the
to get
expert.
you more precise numbers on the impact to this community.
Okay.
And
That'd
for
be helpful.
example, the Collins Center came back, and their estimate was over 10 years, the assessments would double, over 10 years.
Okay.
That's in general. The impact on communities is different because we have facilities that serve Danvers and Beverly only, that those two communities pay for, but the other three don't. And when Marblehead's pipeline broke 10 or 12 years ago in the harbor, and they had to spend $10 million, only Marblehead paid for it. So I'm only mentioning that because an overall assessment of the impacts is somewhat different than the community level impacts, and that's what we need to get to you.
But
That would definitely be helpful because, again, that goes to some of the guardrails that Select Board Member Truss was saying. I think having that information will be helpful for us and helpful for our residents.
And I support the education. Although I would like, a little bit cynical that no matter how much you educate people, they're not going to be happy about a 100% increase in 10 years if we go with that number. So, but I also hear, if we're going to, I'm thinking now out loud that if we're going to have, we should have some community workshop about this. And if we do, I'm going to expect SESD to deliver the message. Because it is, we're upstream, we're just paying the bill that you're going to be charging us. And so, you know, one of the important things I didn't hear tonight, which I thought was an important fact when I heard it, maybe it's not, is that your operating costs increase also because your disposal has changed. Maine's going away. It's no longer an opportunity. So those kind of things people can reconcile. Oh, if I've got to ship this to the Midwest as opposed to a state over, of course costs go up. That's something I can put in context, and you might want to consider that as part of the discussions that you have with the other communities. But if we have a community session on this, I'll be wanting the SESD to present it. And I think that with the advisors you have, with the consultants you have, you should be able to provide the opportunity to understand each of the 5 communities' costs, trended over 10 years or 20 years, or the life of this $800+ million project. So,
Yeah, that's a
Madam
good,
Chairman,
that's a good
can
idea.
I add a comment?
Yeah.
Thank you. To Dee's point about, and yours about breaking down the cost of the communities, on page 16 of your report, the assessment payments, Danvers is number 2, ahead of Beverly and Salem, as far as the assessment.
It's a different report.
Debt service, that's debt service payments.
Oh.
Here's the budget, yeah.
It's just, I'm looking through the budget. As I said, we've never had an explanation on this budget. I looked through it tonight and earlier. Things jumped out at me that made no sense, but I don't know how to ask the question.
Do you want to try it? Sweet.
Good evening, everyone. Through you, Madam Chair. Steve King, Director of Public Works, Town of Danvers. So essentially, when you receive your budget book before the start of the next fiscal year, those assessments are based on flows and lows, and I think we've talked about that a little bit at our budget meetings year over year. So SUSD does a very thorough job of looking at and assessing how much flow and the quantity and concentration of flow that's coming from each of the communities into the plant. That is then deciphered into specific sections of how much you owe on your assessment, how much they have to work to treat your own wastewater coming into the plant. So that's why sometimes your assessments can change. We could be second, we could be third, we could be fourth during certain years. And that's why we also work on doing a lot of those lining projects, because we're trying to reduce the amount of flow going to SESD. So we're trying to reduce our costs as much as possible. So that's why it can change year over year.
Okay, another piece for education. Thank you.
Definitely. Maybe having
Lucky
a
to have you,
campaign
Steve,
on
to explain that. That's
committee.
good.
Yeah.
Very good. I know that this is not a public hearing, but I am going to allow our water and sewer board member to go up and just comment if you'd like. Coley. Thank you.
Coley Wright-Bickey, Chairman, Danvers Water and Sewer. Before I get to the comment I was going to make to help Steve's argument, what they just talked about, in terms of the ebbs and flows, to give you an example that you may have seen in the paper over the last couple of years, Peabody had the old Eastman Kodak Rousselet plant close, so that dramatically impacted the ebbs and flows coming out of Peabody into the plant. So this is why that number changes quite a bit. The comment I was going to make, this is the second time I've been through this presentation and the third time I've been through it, taking a look at it at home. But what struck me tonight, I keep hearing this common theme about we're dealing with 30-year-old equipment. The plant's getting old. You've got a 100-year-old pipe out into the harbor. So my question is where has management, I would think that somewhere along the line you would do a planned obsolescence and would be refreshing some of this equipment. It just seems like all of a sudden we're here at this 30-year point and it's, pardon my French, the stuff's hitting the fan. But I just want to understand that, how come we're in this predicament now?
So first, it would have been ideal if we could have made those improvements in a planned way before we got to this point. I don't argue that for 1 second. But we didn't have budget authority to do it. So it could very well be that we should have come before you 15 years ago when the equipment had not aged out and asked for more money. I suspect, I won't speak just in generalities, that might not have been well received, that we didn't have a particular need back then. And we're in this cycle where, because of what was done in the 90s, everything was new. It all lasted about the same amount of time, and now we have to do it again. And I wish we didn't, but that's what we're facing at the moment. We did do some, as I mentioned, in that bar chart, that stacked bar chart. Early on, there was money available each year to do critical repairs, and we did those. But other than that, it was the limits of 2.5 prevented us from spending more.
To that point, and we can't go back to in the past, but I'll tell you, and you should be considering this when you're considering your legislation, a 10% increase every year for 10 years, certainly more palatable than a 100% increase in 1 year. So as you plan out your debt, as you plan out your fees, consider spreading it over time, because obviously history has proven that not doing that is going to be far more costly. As far as public perception, as well as not just numbers. I wouldn't want to be in Coley's position when this actually hits and someone says, why is my rate going up 60, 80%? And why couldn't it have been spread? And we're looking, my recommendation is allow us to start some sustainability funding now to spread, and spread that out. We may go artificially above the cost, but we're building up stability funds to minimize the impact when it does hit.
Okay.
And this side, sorry, Madam Chair, and this might be, so it's clear that it's something to consider also, is to be able to articulate at what point did the district become aware of this financial pressure. I think that's important because, like he said, 30 years, what happened between then and now? I'm sure at some point it may have been 3 years ago when you did the study. I don't know. But that will also be something important to articulate, to put everything into a good context and have kind of like a totality of evidence approach.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, you heard what we had to say.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see the note taker. Thank you very much for taking down notes. Board members, we have a lot of work, a lot of good questions, a lot of things that we want to dive into. We'll be talking with our town manager and our DPW director, our state rep, and our board, water and sewer board. But thank you. Do you have anything to say, Jill?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for being here tonight. I toured the plant early on in my tenure here. Having come from a municipality that has their own plant, but that's in the primary position, is still in a primary situation and is now under consent decree to move into secondary. SASD is far beyond, and they're doing a great job. I agree that these are costs that feel unpalatable, and the impact on our residents is huge. So we have to take it very seriously and find ways to level out and try to smooth out the kind of impact. But it is critical. Again, unfortunately, in my career, I've been talking about the cost of flushing for quite some time. So it is something that I think we really do need to start talking about more. And I do want to thank Steve and Rodney, Steve King and Rodney Conley, and myself have been on meetings with this group and meetings with the other communities, putting a lot of pressure. Steve and Rodney and myself advocate incredibly well for this community. Steve has taken a deep dive into every one of these projects and timelining it out into a way that the work is done when it needs to be done, not necessarily sooner. And Rodney has offered the board numerous suggestions on how to craft the legislation so that it controls costs to the community. So our team is on it, and Rep. Kearns has been, I think this is probably her second, at least, of these presentations at City Council, but of the actual presentation, it's probably 5 or 6. So she has been an ally in this, and I didn't know, Madam Chair, if Rep. Kearns had anything else she wanted to add.
Would you like to, Sally, say anything else? Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation again. The numbers are quite shocking. And I think when we had the first meeting among the legislative delegation, we were all feeling stunned, wondering, how did this happen? And in a way, we're kind of in a situation where things roll along the way they should. The SESD board meets. They do their budgets. Our water commissioners do their budget and their work. And in a way, we're just too siloed to really have paid close enough attention. But I appreciate that the district has recognized the need to amp up the public education. It's very hard to get our minds around it. I couldn't agree more, Gardner. Like 10% a year would have been so much better, but here we are. And I fully intend, I know that we all will, in the legislative end of things, be looking for controls. We are discussing maybe separating operating from, I know that's not, you're not a fan of that, the amount that we authorize in this, how much it could exceed, that has to be looked at and considered. Senator Lovely is fully in this conversation and discussion. She's away today, but, and Steve has been great, and Rodney. I mean, we and Jill as well. So I know you're all thinking, how'd we get here? Well, there is a story to how, and now we have to find our way along and mitigate the impact of these rate increases on people, really on, particularly people on fixed incomes. We have to find a way through the revolving fund, loans. There is a small amount of state aid for rate relief that I'm looking into. We're going to have all of that. It will take a full, and I think Dan said it, it is now May. Our session ends on July 31. But you're going to complete your discussions. We're going to see what we can craft, and if, you know, we might file it now or might decide it's best to wait in January when things are more settled and we're not in a massive push of legislation that's been in the pipeline, so to speak, for a year and a half. So thank you all for the conversation and the attention that you've given to it. And thanks to all of you for hearing it all in the spirit of how can we solve this together for the people that we all represent and be responsible. And I actually did want to ask the town manager, if we were to not do anything, we could end up in a consent decree situation, and then it won't be our timeline. We won't be stretching out debt. It will be more expensive and more painful. Am I right?
You were correct.
Yeah, so I think that is a point that we can't lose sight of as well. Okay, so thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Town manager will report to the board on various items of interest. Ms. Town Manager.
Kind of wish I reorganized this, but the order of things. I want to point out, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to all the board members who are here tonight, and for SESD for joining us. Steve, Rodney, the representative, thank you, Coley. First, I just want to point out, I shared with the board, and it's on our website, the monthly planning permitting update for May. I've heard questions here often on what's happening in those permitting boards, so I just want to highlight that and try to make sure you highlight it for you all and the public, that's available on the Planning and Economic Development page. Highlights also recently announced, it started on Monday, some paving and road work. Milling began on Monday. Bucher Road, Gate Street, Ray Street, Ralph Road, and Palmer Avenue. The schedule is obviously weather permitting, so a heads up that is coming. You all also received from me this week an update on the Conant Street work. National Grid is doing work on Conant Street. Conant Street, Berry Street, Alden Street, and Park Street beginning on Sunday, May 10th. It's anticipated to continue for approximately 12 weeks after the start date, weather permitting. Conant Street work will occur overnight, Sunday through Thursday, 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., and all of the streets work will occur Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Police details will be on site during construction hours to assist residents around the neighborhood. If you have questions, you should reach out to National Grid Community Coordinator at 978-725-1328. And this release was put out on our socials and is on our website if you're looking for more information on that. I also want to make sure residents are aware of that we recently moved into a level 6 water restriction. Beginning on May 1st, the town is required to implement these restrictions by the state due to the reservoir levels in the Ipswich River flow. This means no outdoor water use is allowed. I actually want to highlight, especially in light of the conversation around public education, during our community roundtables last year, I heard many, many concerns around water usage. So one of the next steps, and Representative Kearns is a great partner on this as well. I think this is another area that we could use some additional public education. So we are in this summer's kind of version of community roundtables will include some deeper conversations on multiple topics, but one of them is water, culminating really with a kind of community conversation late summer, probably early fall, but you will see a lot more of us talking about the work that we're doing with the North Shore Water Resource Task Force. I want to, what's that? Resiliency Task Force. The work we're doing with them, the work we do internally for conservation. So we're going to start talking water more and the impact, actually Coley and I talked about this today, the impact on Danvers by the state permits and things like that that are issued. Yeah. Sure. Madam Chair?
Sure.
I'm so glad you brought up the water work of the North Shore Drought Resiliency Task Force. This is a pretty extraordinary process that has been going on. Senator Bruce Tarr got it going 6 years ago, and it convenes all the communities in the Ipswich River watershed, focusing on how can we reduce usage, conserve, how can we protect the watershed, ensure that we have enough safe drinking water, and how can we regionalize? Because we don't like regionalization in our state. We don't do that. We like, everybody wants their own deal. So this has been a very painstaking process to get every community to say, okay, we are part of this pact, if you will, signed on to a charter, and the constraints that are faced by lower basin communities, which is sort of what we are.
We are, yeah.
Are very real, and it's very different for Beverly Salem. And of course, Beverly Salem gets their water from us. So it's really important work, and my hope is that we are heading towards an agreement that will allow usage to be managed enough, and that we can conserve and we can find ways of ensuring supply, ensuring safe drinking water. That's always safety first. But I just want you all to know that, you know, Danvers is at the table every single time. All of us, all of these communities, and Steve does a ton of work. So you cannot permit him. Please don't let him not continue to come to the Drought Management Task Force meetings, because it's very, very important work, and he's a leader in it. So I just want you all to know that that's happening. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Like I said, I think this is speaks to the same thing. We need to make sure be as transparent as possible with the public and provide as many opportunities for people to come and engage with us and our team to learn about what we're doing. So wanted to add that in there. I wanted to announce that that Danvers has been named 2025 Tree City USA recognition again this year by the Arbor Day Foundation. I think it is something we should be very proud of, and the town celebrates Arbor Day each year. I attended the Arbor Day celebration at Smith School 2 Fridays ago. It'll be 3 Fridays ago tomorrow. It was an incredible, fun event. I want to thank the Danvers Garden Club. They bagged, I think, over 300 seedlings to go home with the students to plant. The DPW was on site as we planted a tree at Smith School. They actually planted 2. So the DPW grounds crew was on site. They were incredible as well. And the Smith School administration, teachers, and most importantly, the kindergartners who sang a very important tree song for us and then helped fill in the dirt. So thank you to everyone involved in Arbor Day, and congratulations to everyone in Danvers for being a tree city. Events coming up, we have town meeting on May 18th. I look forward to seeing everybody there. I want to thank the Finance Committee and our Finance Director, Rodney Conley. We had a successful 2 weeks of budget and warrant review, and the Select Board members, each of you, spent an evening with us, so thank you. I think that was there was some important dialogue throughout those meetings, and so we're looking forward to going to town meeting. The Memorial Day Parade, which reminds me that it's my 1-year anniversary is coming up next week. These are a few of the first things I did when I started. Memorial Day Parade is on Monday, May 25th. Starts at 9 a.m. at the Holton Richmond Middle School. Ceremony to follow at approximately 10 a.m., also at the middle school. That also means Town Hall will be closed on Monday, May 25th for Memorial Day. I also handed out to you all, and there's some in the back for those who are left in the room. The Danvers Rec has announced their summer concert series and their summer-long programs. Lots of good stuff coming up through our incredible recreation department, so please check it out. It's on our website, it's on Facebook, it's everywhere, and there's flyers in Town Hall and the Recreation Department, and ask your Select Board members, because they have it all now, too. And then I want to say a couple thank yous. This past weekend, DPW hosted the recycling event and the rain barrel pickup. Again, incredible amount of work. The way people come through that event is amazing. It's a well-oiled machine at this point, and the increase so at the very end of you bring your car full of things to recycle and drop off, and then if you've ordered rain barrels, then at the end you pick up your rain barrels. We distributed an additional 50-some rain barrels. I think it was around 180 rain barrels. So when you're announcing a water restriction and handing out rain barrels at the same time, it feels like we're doing something right. So if you're not part of that program, look into it. It's a really important piece of water conservation. And thank you to the DPW team for participating, and the residents who come and help us conserve water and recycle materials. And finally, I want to congratulate Madam Clerk and her office on a successful election, and congratulate everyone on re-election and new election. I had the opportunity to visit the the polling place at Danvers High School. It was incredible to see the number of community members involved in that process. Also a well-oiled machine, and thank you very much for making it look easy for the rest of us, Madam Clerk. And if you have anything you wanted to add to that, I'm wrapping up.
Oh, I'd love to, thank you. So our office has finalized the results, and they can be found on the town's website under the town clerk section, under election results. I just want to take a minute to thank all the poll workers, the wardens, the assistant wardens, police department, school department, DPW, the IT department, the team in the clerk's office, Corey Grace for helping with the results, the registrars. Everyone knows their piece, and it's so important that we all work so well together as a team, and that really shows when things go smoothly. And the next election, we can look forward to September 1st, which is the state primary, and then November 3rd, which would be the state election. Anybody has any questions, they can certainly reach out to our office. Thank you.
What was the turnout?
Oh, the turnout, I have that. Hang on. The turnout was 6.9%. So we had 1,567 voters. And that's all I have.
What is the norm?
I think that's a little bit high for a local, which is kind of surprising considering the items on the ballot, but that's about average.
Excellent. Anything else, Joe?
That's it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Gardner, did you?
I haven't gotten any correspondence.
Oh, a minute, I'm sorry.
Before the closing comment,
yeah, I
may I
can't.
ask a question to the town manager?
Sure.
Just a quick question about
I messed up, yeah.
the road work or water shut off and things like that. I noticed the texting to inform people.
Yes.
What is the best way for residents to be aware of the fact that their street is going to be closed?
So first and foremost, the most important thing is to go on our website, and I'm going to get it wrong if I don't look it up. And I just sent this to a resident the other day. Go on our website and sign up for notifications. So when anything that our DPW is doing, you will get directly notified. It comes, and you can choose text, email, phone. So anytime, and the select board members know this, anytime they bring me a resident question about they didn't know, I said, sign up, sign up, sign up, sign up, sign up. I can't say that enough. When it's National Grid work, they are also required to send letter notification to the affected residents. Representative Kearns we had discussed, we had an issue that we worked on together on this. They also do door hangers for people that are going to be affected, but first and foremost, always, because I know not everybody's on social media, but it's all out there too, and it's all on our website. But if you go for the one-time sign up, if you're not on social media and you want to come into town hall, we will help you get signed up. That notification is critically important, and it becomes critically important if there's ever, hopefully not an emergency. It's crucial. We need as many people as possible signed up for those services, notification services.
So, and that's only for cell phone, right? No landline.
I don't know that answer. It should be able to, yeah, I was going to say I haven't.
I do have a landline, and yes, you do get notifications on a landline.
Okay. Now, is there a way to, and this is just me thinking aloud, I didn't think about it until you mentioned the road work, because there's one starting on the 10th, today is the 7th, right? So is there a way for people to get a notification through IT asking them if they want to sign up instead of having them go to the website?
We're not allowed to solicit that. So similar to organizations that want to have, you have to opt in.
Okay, so you cannot be solicited by us preemptively.
They have to
sending
opt
you a
in.
message.
We can continue to send it out on social media with a link to opt in. We put it, typically any public meetings, we always, we have a board with a QR code. We can encourage people to opt in, but we can't solicit them to, yeah.
And then the door hanger, do the people that do the work, do they let us know what street they're putting the door? Like, how do they decide where to?
I'd have to follow up on that question. That's
Because there's sometimes some adjacent streets that are not necessarily on the street that's doing the work,
Yeah.
that could also be impacted.
Yeah.
And it'll be important that they know as well.
I know that the DPW director, Steve King, works very closely with National Grid when they're saying, okay, we want to do this, and there's the back and forth of, no, you can't work at this time, yes, this time, you should think about this. So I can bring that to his attention.
Okay. And the last thing is, I saw the note you sent about the National Grid, and if there was any questions, contact National Grid. I'm just wondering, should the people contact us or
Contact National Grid, that they are responsible for that work. So they know whether it's happening that day or not happening that day based on whether they are responsible for securing police details. So it is their work. Yeah, that has to contact National. You can call us, but and we'll provide whatever information we have, but we'll probably, depending on what the question is, we probably would have to call National Grid.
Okay. So there's no need to add like contact National Grid or Town Hall?
No, if you want the most effective straight line of communication, go to the source.
Okay. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. The board will consider consent calendar items as they appear
moved.
below.
Second.
Oh, wow. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, opposed. All right, this time, correspondence, select board, new business, previous business, new public business, updates, and select board closing comments. Gardner?
I am all set.
Wow, okay. Dee?
So yeah, I have a few updates. First one, I attended the townwide cleanup. Was it last Saturday or 2 weeks ago? So thanks to all the residents that showed up that morning. It was a beautiful day to be out. I was with the group at the senior center. There's that little area there, quite a few empty bottles of something I'm not gonna say. I had a trash full of some empty bottles of some stuff. So it was great. So thanks to all the residents who participated in that. I think that was great. I also attended the HRC meeting. Their last meeting, they have a few events coming up. I don't have the exact dates, but probably it's going to go on the town.
You do, and I do have those dates. June 13th is the Pride celebration, starting here at Town Hall and moving to the library, and June 18th is the Juneteenth event. I just met with them today. That's why it's fresh.
Okay, and there's one other participation the first Thursday at the police station, I think.
Yes, I don't have
Yeah.
information on that one yet.
Okay. I also attended yesterday morning at Essex Tech an information session about the school purchasing the Waco building. They had an informational session for the abutters. Unfortunately, not many of them showed up, but there were a couple, and the superintendent, Dr. Riccio, and her staff did a very good job explaining the need for the space for office. We had discussion that ranged from what are they going to do there, and it's not really an expansion. They're using it for office space mainly. We talk about parking on Preston, and they will do a better job communicating with the school and the parents, making sure that they stop parking there. And we also talk about increasing coordination during the winter storms. I know this year they did a much better job with clearing the sidewalk than previous years, and I hope that continues. So I hope that the town manager and the superintendent there and our DPW continue to work together, because there are kids who walk down Preston Street to go to class, and we want to make sure it's safe. Last but not least, congratulations to Madam Chair for your election. It was great, and looking forward to continuing to working with you at least for the next year. And then we'll figure out after that. So thank you.
Thank you. Dan?
Thank you. On the North Shore Essex piece that Dee brought up, I did have some communication from a resident, and I trust she was at that meeting to get her questions answered, because I couldn't answer them all. That was the only correspondence I had. To recap, kind of, as we come to the end of the fiscal year, the committees that I've been working with in the town, one is the Preservation Commission, and we did come up with a tweak for the demolition bylaw. We've already looked at, that's Article 14 on the warrant at town meeting, and I hope that town meeting supports that change. It won't affect the owners, but it'll make it easier for them to move forward through the process. The Affordable Housing Committee, we've been working on the housing production plan. I think planning will have a final look at it shortly. It should come before us in June at some point in time, I believe, so we'll be able to look at that plan. Well, not a town committee. I'm president of the Friends of the Danvers Council on Aging, and our responsibility and mission is to raise funds to support programs and items that they need that's outside the budget. We have our annual meeting May 20th at 4:30 to get an update from the director on what's happened this year and to identify some funding possibilities for the senior center and an election of officers, and that's open to the public, 4:30 at the senior center on May 20. And after that, we'll go to the library for the Light the Night Purple Walk that we just approved on the consent calendar that starts at 6:30. Well, it's kind of a recap of what my committees that I've worked on have done this year.
Excellent. Thank you. I just want to say thank you to everybody that voted for me. You got me for another 3 years. Thank you for all the candidates. Thank you for all the poll workers, the clerk, the town manager. Thank you, board members, for allowing me to be your chair this year, too. I really appreciate it. Thank you to the public, Bill, and for always coming to the meetings. The other thing that I wanted to say is, did we have a moment of silence for the trooper at all? You know, as everybody knows, our trooper from Danvers, Kevin Trainer, passed away in the line of duty. I mean, it's horrible. I just going to work, I went over that bridge, for that wrong-way driver. And it's just, we just never forget his service. Our hearts and go out to his family and the whole, really, Danvers community, too. I mean, it's the Danvers family Preventure, Barbara Preventure, and his mom, yep, and his fiance, brothers, sisters, yep, family members. You know, we talk about the troopers, you know, our own firefighters and our own police departments, that we stand beside them. They sacrifice every day. They put themselves in their, you know, on the line to save us, right? To help us, sacrifice for us. So I just wanted to, if we could, just have a moment of silence for Kevin Trainer. And thank you very much, board members, and thank you, Danvers. And Dan, would you like to close it out for us tonight?
Thank you. Yes, and we're coming up on Memorial Day Parade. It's more important at this time of year as well as the rest of the year. When you see a vet, please say thank you to he or she for their service. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan.